And it's like, there's grace in everything. And it's, I always think it's like, it's our job to realize that life's happening for us, not to us. And to find how it's happening for us, that's our job. If we do that, then we have a magical life. If we don't, but if your energy's low and you're exhausted, then you don't find those empowering meanings.
Yeah.
You know, that's why, to me, you can't separate the mind and the body. You got to feed the mind and strengthen the body on a daily basis in some way. And if you do that, life can be pretty miraculous.
Train yourself to be okay with discomfort.
Yes.
You're training yourself as your first skill of the day is,
yes,
I am okay with uncomfortable things.
Yes.
And I know I can get through them.
Yes.
And that to me is what sounds like a really important part of emotional fitness.
It is, because unless you can push through discomfort, most things that are going to give you the greatest reward require discomfort initially.
Yeah.
Right? And the discomfort, it's like, you know, my original teacher, Jim Rohn, used to always say, you know, there's two pains in life, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. He goes, discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. You know? And so I've trained myself to do that. And then I meditate. Then I always make an acknowledgement call briefly, or leave a voicemail for someone just to spark the day. And then I do, the first thing I do is always whatever is the most difficult.
Yes.
Because then you have momentum for your day. And when you train your brain to do what's difficult first, then emotional fitness just comes naturally. And more importantly, so does achievement, so does your ability to contribute to other people. Probably the single most painful event of my life, but also shaped me in such a beautiful way, was when I was 11 years old. We had no money for food, and it was Thanksgiving, which in America is a big holiday feast. And so we'd been without food before. We'd have crackers and butter, and we survived, but we weren't gonna have a Thanksgiving feast. And there was a knock at the door, and I go to the door, and there's this giant guy there with groceries in each hand, and he had a pot beside him on the ground with an uncooked turkey. And I said, who are you here for? He goes, I'd like to speak to your father. And my mom and dad were yelling at each other, saying things that you could never take back. And I'm trying to make sure my younger brother and sister, they're 5 and 7 years younger, wouldn't hear any of this. And that day changed my life, because I thought it was gonna be the most exciting day. Dad, go to the front. What is it? I said, it's for you. You answered. No, it's for you. I remember I opened the door, and I was just so excited to see my father be happy. Like, we're gonna have a feast. This is gonna be incredible. And he got angry. And he's like, we don't accept charity. He went to slam the door in the man's face, and the man's foot was there, so it bounced off his foot. He still opened the groceries. He's like, sir, I'm just the delivery guy. He said, it's not charity. Everybody has a tough time. Someone bought this, and they're sending it to you as a gift. My father said, we don't take charity. He goes to close the door again. This time the guy's shoulder was there also, so it bounced off again. And then I was standing right there, and there's this moment I'll never forget where this man looked at my father, and he looked at me and he said, sir, don't let your ego make your family suffer. And the veins on my dad's face, on the side of his neck, I'll never forget, they bulged, like his face turned red. I thought I was gonna punch him in the face. And then there's this moment, my dad's shoulders dropped. He took the groceries, slammed the door, didn't say thank you, and stormed off. And I always remember thinking, like, how come he's not happy? You talk about pain, it's like, I love my father so much. And there's basically 3 decisions that I think everybody makes in their life, that whether they're aware of it or not, moment to moment. I figured this out afterwards because I was so obsessed with what's wrong, because he eventually left our family. And that was the most painful thing I ever had. So it's like feeling like I failed, I blame myself, like, why couldn't I get through to my father? I was 11 years old. But later on, it helped me understand the 3 decisions are, first, you gotta decide what to focus on. Every moment of your life, there's something grabbing your focus, and you don't experience life, you experience the part of life you focus on, right? What's wrong is always available, so is what's right? And there are different kinds of focus. And my dad's focus that day was really on what he hadn't done. And I know that because he kept muttering it. He hadn't taken care of his family, there's no money for Thanksgiving, somebody had to give us charity. And then the second decision you make about, once you focus on something, is what does it mean? Is this the end or the beginning? If you think it's the end of a relationship, you're gonna behave different than it's the beginning, right? My dad's meaning was that he was worthless. And so then the third decision is, what do I do? Which, whatever meaning you come up with creates the emotions, which affects what you do. And what he decided to do is leave our family. But for me, it was like, this is amazing. I mean, we haven't having Thanksgiving. This is incredible. We got food, what a concept. And then the meaning, though, is what changed my whole life, which was, wow, strangers care. That completely changed my life. That painful experience, I couldn't deny that somebody who wanted no credit delivered this food to my family. And so what I decided to do is say, someday I'm gonna do this for another family. Your values control what you focus on. If you're security driven and you're here down in my basement right now, you're like, where's the exit, right? You came down a slide, like, how do I get out of here, right? If you're adventure driven, you don't care. You don't even know where it is. So your focus is controlled by your values and your belief systems, right? The meaning of things is controlled by your belief systems. So those three decision-making things, what I'm going to focus on, what does it mean, what I'm going to do, shift. And one good example of this, Jay, is, and maybe your audience can relate to this, is that we just took 3 patterns. So let's say focus, most people have a focus either on what they have or what's missing. We all do both. But what do you think most people focus on more often? What they have or what's missing?
What's missing?
That's right. Now, even achievers do that. Like, it's not like somebody who's not successful. It's one of the reasons you see these achievers that no matter what they do, it's never enough. Just think about it. If you're always focusing what's missing from your life, how can you sustain happiness? It's software that will not allow that. You'll feel happy for a little moment, and then you'll notice it's missing again. What do you think's more often people focus on? What they can control or can't control?
What they can't control.
Yeah. In my seminars, it's can control. That's why they go. I want to learn how to take control of my body or my finances or my business, whatever it is. So it's the opposite. But the average person, it's what they can't control. And with COVID, there's so much you can't control around you that people really sunk in that. Well, how's someone going to feel? Just everyone think about it. If you're constantly focused on what's missing from your life and what you can't control. And then I'll add one more. Do you focus more on the past, the present, or the future? We all do all 3, but we tend to have one we focus more on. Where do you think more people focus?
Past.
That's right. And achievers focus on the future, and happy people on the present. So that, if you're going to be an achiever, the ideal is the present, so you experience it, anticipating the future, so you can shape your life, right?
Yeah.
But the past you can't change. So I ask people in seminars, you got stadium 15, 20,000 people, and I'll say, how many of you know somebody that takes antidepressants and they're still depressed? And 80% of the room raised their hand saying they know somebody.
Wow.
Well, how come? Because all antidepressants do is numb you so that you're less intense, but they don't deal with the source of the problem, which is you're constantly seeing what's missing. And it doesn't matter whether you're successful or not. That's why there are these people that have been wealthy and think their own life. They see what's missing. They focus on all the things they can't control. There's plenty we can't control, but there's plenty we can influence and plenty we can't control. Just a couple of changes like that completely change someone's life. And so those changes in the beliefs and values change what they look moment to moment, change their experience of life. They're no longer depressed.